Today we're going to talk about the intro to A&P, the integumentary system. So as an introduction to our integumentary system, which is our skin, our skin is the largest organ of our body. There's 21 square feet or 1.5 to 2 square meters throughout our entire body. That's for an average adult. 4 kilograms or roughly around 9 pounds of our body weight is composed of our skin, which is about 7% to 15% of our total body weight. Obviously, that range and the exact poundage will depend on your body size and your body frame, just depending on how much skin you have and how big you are. On 1 square inch, it contains 20 blood vessels, 65 hair and hair muscles, 78 nerves, 78 sensors for heat, 13 sensors for cold, 160 sensors for pressure, 100 sebaceous or oil glands, 650 pseudoferous or sweat glands, 1,300 nerve endings, 19,500,000 cells, and 0.5 million cells dying and being replaced every single day or every couple weeks. So the function of our skin, our integumentary system, what is the purpose of it? What's its function? So we have protection, water balance, temperature regulation, waste disposal, receptor organs, and vitamin D. So protection, again, this is the barrier against microbes, dirt, chemicals, or shock absorber. So this all helps protect everything that's inside of our skin, bones, organs, muscles, those kind of things. Water balance, it helps prevent the loss of water and absorption. So it helps prevent us from losing too much water and absorbing too much water as well. Also helps in functioning in the temperature regulation. So your blood vessels are near the surface. So you have vasoconstriction and vasodilation, depending on whether you need more blood flow or less blood flow, depending on whether you're hot or cold. Waste disposal, so you have excretion of oil, water, NAT, or Na+, which is sodium, and CO2, etc., depending on what's going on. Those are the way our body expels some of our waste products. It is also a receptor organ, meaning it receives sensations of touch, pain, heat, cold, and pressure. Also vitamin D production, meaning in order for your body to properly produce vitamin D, you must go out into the sun and have it absorbed into the skin so that our body can properly process the vitamin D. So layers of our skin, we have 3 of them, 3 main ones. You have our epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous, also known as your hypodermis. So again, break down those words. Epi, meaning upon or above, so that's your outermost layer. Dermis means skin. Subcutaneous, sub, under, cute means skin, so under the skin. Or hypodermis, hypo meaning below, dermis referring to the skin. Alright, first we're going to talk about the epidermis. This is the outermost layer of the skin, composed of 5 layers within the epidermis. It is avascular, meaning that there are no blood supply there. So just like whenever you were a little kid, if you took that safety pin, you could poke it through the top layer of your skin, no blood, right? Stick it through, it doesn't really hurt. No blood comes out. It's because it's avascular, meaning there's no blood vessels. So if you don't puncture any blood vessels, you're not going to bleed. So complete regeneration in approximately 35 days. So again, those millions of cells that you have that create the epidermis are being regenerated every 35 days. Some regions are thicker than others, thinner on the scalp and armpit than on the sole of the foot. So next we have our dermis. This is called our corium, or the true skin. So epidermis is above it, then you have your dermis, which is your corium, or your true skin. This is a framework of elastic connective tissue and blood vessels. So again, your dermis contains your blood vessels and capillaries. So whenever you get a paper cut and it starts bleeding, that means you have cut through your epidermis and into your dermis, because that's where the blood vessels and the capillaries are. Also has lymphatic vessels. That's when you have, whenever you get like a carpet burn and it starts oozing more of that white liquid, that's because of your lymphatic vessels. Also has nerves. So again, when you cut through might get a paper cut and it hurts, it's because you're severing those nerves and they're being sparked. Involuntary muscles are there, meaning you don't control it. You can't control when you get goosebumps or not goosebumps. Those are all caused by the muscles within your dermis. You have sweat and oil glands, hair shaft and hair follicles, and sensory receptors. So again, it kind of goes back to your nerves. Sensory receptors, that's what will indicate whether you're feeling cold or hot, or pain, pressure, those kind of things. Next, we have our subcutaneous, or your hypodermis, meaning it's below. This is your innermost layer. This is composed of elastic and fibrous connective tissue and adipose, or fatty tissue. So this is where your fat is stored. So it also connects the skin to the underlying muscles. So parts of our skin, just going in order, A through N. A, you have your epidermis, B, dermis, C, subcutaneous fascia, or your hypodermis. D, be your papilla. E, right here, this would be your sweat pore, that's where it comes out. F, that's going to be your actual hair shaft, so that's what your hair that sticks out of your arms, you can see them. G, this is going to be your strata corneum. Then you have H, which is your strata genitabium. That's a fun word to say. I, right here, this will be your sebaceous, or your oil glands, this little thing right here. J, moving on to J, that's your hair follicle. That's where your hair shaft originates until it moves up and grows out. Then you have K, right here, which is a nerve fiber, so that innervates in your dermis. And then you have L, which is down here, which is your pseudoferis, or your sweat glands. And then you have M and N, which are your arteries and your veins. So again, arteries bring blood to the area, veins carry it away. Alright, so your papilla. These are areas of dermis that fit into the ridge of the strata genitabium. So this forms your unique fingerprints and footprints for an individuals. So accessory structures. So these are part of the skin. So you have your nails, which is keratinized or dead epidermis that grows under the lunula, or the white portion of the nail bed. That's where your nails start and grow out. And then you have your hair, consists of the follicles and the shaft, and the arrector pili, which is your actual hair muscle. This is what causes goosebumps, causes your hair to actually stand up. It's a muscle that pulls those hairs up, causes it to stand up, gives you the goosebumps. So then you have different types of glands. You have your pseudoferis, which are your sweat glands, and then you have sebaceous, which are oil glands. So they secrete sebum as a lubricant. Sebum is oil. Most open onto the hair follicle, keeps them from getting dried out. If they get plugged, that equals a blackhead. And then you have ceruminous glands, which secrete cerumen or earwax. Those are located in your ear. So we have our sweat glands, also called pseudoferis glands. So sweat contains water, salt, and body waste. This is another way that our body can rid ourselves of waste. We have sebaceous glands, also called oil glands, produce an oil that keeps the skin and hair from becoming dry and brittle. So the oil that's produced does serve a very good purpose. It also helps prevent infection. It has somewhat of a antibacterial property to it, so it helps prevent infections. So other parts of the hair, we have our, in the integumentary system, we have our hair. Consists of the root, which grows in a hollow tube called the follicle, or the hair shaft. And we have our nails, which protect fingers, toes from injury. So they're made of dead, keratinized epidermal epithelial cells packed closely together. So skin color. So you have melanin. So that's the only pigment made in the skin. So melanin is what's going to basically determine whether you have very light skin or very dark skin. The more melanin you have, the darker the skin you will be. So you have yellow to reddish brown to black. So depending your yellower skin, less melanin. Brown to black skin, meaning more melanin. Racial differences due to the kind and amount of melanin is made. Local accumulations equal freckles or pigmented moles. So that's from the melanin kind of accumulating in one spot. So you have exposure to sunlight increases the manufacture of melanin because it protects the DNA from UVA damage and results in a tan. So getting your tan actually does serve a purpose. So keratin, that's the yellow to orange. This accumulates in the stratum corneum in the fatty tissue of the hypodermis. So this color is more obvious in the palms or the soles of your feet. To have more of a yellowish orangish color in your palms or your soles of your feet than you do on the rest of your skin. So dilation of blood vessels in the skin. So what happens? So you dilate, the blood vessels will get bigger. So dilation means it gets bigger. Excess heat can escape through the skin that way. That's why whenever you get hot, you get flushed, you get a little red. It's because those blood vessels dilate, bring more blood. Blood's red causes to give your skin a reddish tint if you have a lighter colored skin. So then the opposite of dilation is constriction of blood vessels in the skin. So what happens? You constrict things, vessels get smaller. So heat is retained in the body. So whenever it's cold outside, your blood vessels want to constrict because they want to kind of keep the heat in the body. You don't want to be releasing the heat when you're trying to keep your body warm. So again, dilate means it gets bigger, constricts gets smaller. Now this concludes our video over the structures of the integumentary system.